the first night we opened, I came back to my parents' house. I was filthy. I had flour on me from making pizzas. I looked like I had just gone through a WrestleMania fight, and I lost. My dad cried. He was very upset with me. And the reason he cried, I believe, is because my dad paid for my education.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. It made me feel like, am I doing the right thing? Is this the biggest mistake of my career? Going from law, now going to opening a restaurant.
Hi there. I know that it's been like a week since we last, interacted here, but I've missed you guys. It's been exciting coming to your screens, coming, to this podcast every week in, week out, and sharing with you amazing stories, amazing conversations, and bringing you amazing insights around business, personal development, culture shaping, entrepreneurship from the city of Jos. My name is Timothy Kunat, and it is exciting to be with you once again. Welcome to Just Start with Timothy Kunat. Every single time that we get on your screens, it's always an opportunity to share, an opportunity to inspire, an opportunity to motivate. And I do hope that you have started. You're not just sitting on that idea any longer, but you are executing. You're taking it from an idea, from just a dream, right, to reality. Today, I have an amazing guest with me. But before we get into who this guest is, you know the drill. The 4 things that you have to do for me. The first thing is hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed. If this is your first time joining us, welcome to the family. Where have you been? Well, it's not too late. Welcome. I really appreciate you for joining in on this episode. So hit the subscribe button and let's get this to as many people as we can. Like this video, right? What else? Share it, and share it. Share it with everyone in your circle, all your friends, your alumni association, everyone, right? And then do not forget to leave a comment. I'd like to know where you're watching this from, where you're listening to this from, what points resonate with you very deeply, the things that you've heard that you're willing to execute, and the things that you've already executed. Share with me the success stories that you're already beginning to experience. I want us to build a solid community around this and just motivate ourselves, get ourselves to keep building, to keep pushing, to keep transforming our every little actions and steps into a major part of our big dreams. All right, great. So, without further ado, I have with me someone whose career spans from the legal space, right, from law, into hospitality by running a restaurant. I'm sure you're already thinking, law, restaurant, how does that even work? Yes, he has made it work, right? And he runs a business here in Jos that is basically the mother of all pizza places, right? You can't mention pizza business in Jos and this is not like the first name that you're calling, right? So without further ado, I'd like to help me welcome Barrister Amer Chami. I remember the first time we met, you said, my name is Amer. It's like America, but without the ICA, right?
Correct.
Good to have you here, Mr. Amer.
It's my honor to be here.
Awesome.
First of all, I'd like to say congratulations on the show.
Thank you.
I'm a big fan.
Thank you.
I hope that you'll continue to grow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this opportunity to be here, and I'm very grateful.
Awesome. It's such a joy to have you here, and I'm really glad that you agreed when we had the conversation about you being here today.
Of course.
Naturally, I would like to start let's go start at the very beginning. For those of you who like Sound of Music, you know where that line just came from, right? So the very beginning, the first time we met, you told me something, and you were like, "Oh, you're from Plateau State," and I was like, "That is intriguing," because obvious reasons, right? So let's start from the very beginning. How are you here? How did you find yourself here? And maybe we talk a bit about family background and stuff.
Thank you for the question.
Yeah.
So my family have been in Plateau State since my great-grandfather, who
Wow.
came in 1928.
Wow. That
So
is 4 generations.
yes, I'm the fourth, and my son is the fifth.
5 generations
Yeah, in
here.
Jos.
Amazing.
And my great-grandfather actually came from the Ottoman Empire, and he came by boat to Nigeria. And he came straight to Jos, and we've been here ever since. My great-grandfather's house is still in Jos, and
You know your great. I don't even know where my great grandfather's house
yeah,
is.
it's on Amadu Bello. Yeah, it's
Wow.
that discernible,
Wow.
the location. And for me, I'm extremely patriotic Nigerian, and Plateau is definitely my home. Uh, my grandfather was born here. Both my parents were born in Plateau Hospital.
Hospital, Plateau
Excuse me,
Hospital.
Plateau
Yeah.
Hospital. I was born in Gombe, but I spent my whole life in Jos. I did my primary and secondary school here.
Wow.
And then I traveled out for my education. I was lucky enough and blessed enough for that opportunity. And I moved back to Jos after NYSC.
You did NYSC.
Yes, I did
You
NYSC.
were copper.
Sean.
Where did you serve?
I served in Bauchi State at the Ministry of, the Ministry of Justice. I served at
Oh
the
well,
Ministry of
you're a
Justice.
lawyer, so yeah.
Yes. My CDS was legal aid.
Wow.
And I wasn't a ghost copper. I actually
You actually served.
every
Amazing.
moment of every day.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was in camp for the whole. Because we had our passing out ceremony from law school. We only had to do 2 weeks as opposed to 3 weeks,
Okay.
and then we were given permission to go
Permission.
get ready for our graduation.
Yeah.
So we did that the full 2 weeks.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was and that's actually one of the main reasons where the restaurant started. But I don't want to jump
Yeah.
jump
So
the boat,
we'll get there.
Yeah.
But I really love the fact that you just talked about the basically the genealogy from your great grandfather to then your grandparents, your parents, and then you also have a son. So that's 5 generations, almost 100 years. 1928, right?
Yes.
Almost
So in 3
almost
years, it'll be 100 years.
almost 100 years of being part of the history of this place. What are some of the things that endears? I mean, you've already said this is home, right? So, what are some of the things that you love the most about here? Because you traveled for school,
Yes.
and you
yes.
returned.
Yes, I've been very lucky to. I have my undergrad at the American University of Beirut, which is in Lebanon.
Yeah,
I studied international law in Washington, D.C.,
amazing.
and I got my law degree from City University in London. So, and then I qualified as a lawyer in Nigeria.
Nigeria.
So, I've had education on 4 different continents, which I don't think a lot of people are blessed to have that opportunity. But for me, coming back to Jos was mainly because of my father, who retired in Jos. He could never leave here. This is his happy place.
Yeah,
And because of how patriotic my father is, I've also embraced that patriotism. Coming to Jos for me was filled with mixed feelings coming back. Being a commercial lawyer, I found it that there wasn't a lot of opportunity in Jos when I first was thinking about coming back.
yeah,
But what drove me mostly was my father's health, and I wanted to be around him. You know, I think our parents give us everything,
Yeah.
and in their old age,
yeah.
I think it's time for us to return the favor
Yeah.
or
Give
repay
them-
the debt.
Yeah,
A drop in the ocean, but
Yes.
as much as we can.
yeah.
So coming back to Jos wasn't really the ideal place I wanted to see myself in. I did my law school in Lagos, and I love the energy of Lagos.
Well, Lagos has energy.
and the amount of opportunity in Lagos, the amount of exposure. You can meet people from every walkway of life,
Yes.
from all over the world. While in Jos, especially after our crisis in 2000, 2001,
Yeah.
it's been like there's been quite a brain drain and a financial drain in Plateau State.
Yeah.
Which means anyone who has money or anyone who had the opportunity to leave left.
Yeah.
So that, to be very frank with you, is a very big challenge when I was planning on moving back. But to answer your question, the overriding reason for me coming back was my parents, who are retired in Jos.
Amazing. Amazing. And so you returned and then went for service. So how you mentioned that your service ties to the story of starting Pizza and Ice Cream Club.
Yes, correct.
Right. So take us through how NYSC and this, connect in this story.
Okay, I'll take you a bit further back.
Sure.
So when I first moved back to Nigeria after my education, I went straight to a local government outside of the FCT called, including in the FCT called Buari. And if you have a foreign legal education, you have to go to Buari for what they call Bar 1.
Okay.
And then if you are successful in Bar 1, then you can go to the law school proper, which is you get to pick of 6 different campuses. And the reason I bring up Buari is because it's a very, very small town. I'm sure it's growing bigger since I was last there, but while I was there, it was a very small town, and on weekends, my course mates would always want to go to Abuja just to, see some life.
Chill.
And I remember the place we would go to was a Domino's and Cold Stone franchise. And that to me blew my mind, because fast food in the West, it's not a luxury. It's almost
It's normal.
It's what you eat when you want to not spend much.
Yeah.
As opposed to a more conventional restaurant.
Yeah.
And then I remember one of the clearest memories I have is waiting in line at Cold Stones for over 20 to 30 minutes. And I remember seeing everyone in the line was so quiet, so entertained, and no one was complaining, and because they're getting what they want. And that to me was what I guess really sparked the idea of hospitality in Nigeria. And then then I went to Lagos for my law school, and then from there I moved to Bauchi, where I was in NYSC.
Yeah.
And then during camp, there was a section called skill acquisition. I was in poetry and fishery in my skill acquisition group, but which I didn't have any interest in, but I loved the idea that was instilled from that activity, which was, yes, you have a degree, yes, you are a professional, but it's always good to engage in business. And I think that was the strongest lesson I caught from that. And I think that's what from Buari going to Domino's and Pizza and Cold Stone, then going to Bauchi and learning about this skill acquisition. When I came to Jos, that's naturally what I wanted to do. Growing up in Jos, aside from Mama Put joints, which I think are the best thing on God's green earth, don't get me wrong, we don't have a lot of conventional restaurants. And I remember reading in the Economist magazine, there was an article that was titled "The Final Frontier," and which was basically the last free economy in the world was hospitality, specifically in West Africa.
Wow.
So it wasn't focused on Nigeria, but it was focused on West Africa. And for me, that was an extremely interesting article, because I realized there's close to very little competition in the hospitality sector. Like if you look at our economy in Nigeria, if you want to go into oil and gas, everyone and all their relatives are in that sector. If you want to go into mining of one sort, everyone's doing
Everybody's
it.
there.
Very similar, pure water.
That one is.
The moment it started,
It's all
everyone
over the
started
place.
doing
Yes.
it. And then likewise with shawarma. You know, I remember when we were growing up in Jos, there was Juice and Grenade. I think those were the pioneers of shawarma at the time. And then, you know, shawarma and
Shawarma and
grills,
grills,
and
yes.
now Maxi have
Yeah.
really taken over the market.
Yeah.
But you know, I wanted to go into a sector of the economy where there was very little competition.
Competition.
And instead of going into shawarma or something of that, I said, let me try pizza. And because of, I couldn't afford a franchise for Domino's and Cold Stone, so I started my,
You started yours.
yes, which it became Pizza and Ice Cream Club. That's I guess the origin story
Yeah.
of how the ideas were formulated in my mind
Oh.
to create Pizza and Ice Cream Club.
Yeah.
And then, you know, in Jos, you could have money you want to spend, but there was no place to go and spend it as a restaurant, you know. Because Mama Put joints, like I said, like we mentioned earlier, they close quite early. So if you're chilling in Jos in the evening and you want to eat, there was really nowhere to go. Aside, unless you want to get something like as simple as Indomie and
Yeah.
so yeah, I guess
Yeah.
that's how it all started.
Amazing. Now, you mentioned this, and I'm quite curious about the club in the name. So how is it, why is it Pizza and Ice Cream Club, not Pizza and Ice Cream Place or Pizza and Ice Cream Spot? How did you come about the club?
The name actually stems. So PNI, Pizza and Ice Cream, was the name I wanted to go into. And when I was in maritime law, the form of, I know this has no connection.
Please
but
carry on.
the form of insurance contracts, they are all signed under PNI club houses. So that's how the name became PNI Club. So I guess that's how law touches the restaurant a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. That's because in
Yeah,
fact,
so it's just basically maritime
yeah,
contracts.
because in fact, when I told my wife I was going to be speaking with you, she said I should ask, why is there the club in
Yeah.
in the clause? So yeah, I just asked him on your behalf.
I hope it's a sufficient answer.
Yeah, but you talked about PNI is almost is slowly approaching 10 years, about over 8 years right now.
Correct, yeah.
And you talked about what things were when you were about to start. Not so many restaurants in the city, especially restaurants that stayed beyond 6 o'clock. And of course, I understand because the fear and all of the curfew and everything that was attached to the aftermath of the years of crisis also, affected like evening activities, night activities in the city. So when you were starting, how did you navigate that challenge? The fact that back then, a lot of people were not even coming out in the evening. So to open a place that stays till maybe 10 or something, after 6, 7, you're probably not going to see anybody, right?
That's
so
what you thought. That's what I thought.
That's what you thought.
Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah. Fantastic question. Thank you.
yeah.
So basically, when we were growing up in Jos, when I was in secondary school, when the crisis, I guess the word is plagued Plateau State.
Yeah, plagued.
And we lived, thank God we were not internally displaced people, but we lived a very similar lifestyle in the fact that we were not allowed to go to social activities. Obviously, there was always curfews, but then just naturally because our parents were so worried, we weren't allowed to go anywhere. So if we wanted to go out, we would go to our friends' houses. We would never go public places, and unfortunately, that's how this kind of conflict affected the psyche of consumers.
Yes.
People didn't want to be out and about. You either had restrictions from your family or wherever, or just the fear was a restriction that you don't want to be out at the wrong time at the wrong place. So when I came back to Jos, I guess you could say that that old character of Joss, where people would go out, was starting to reappear. The reason I say that was I remember Crest Hotel, which was just across the street from PNI Club, uh, had quite an active nightlife. And I remember coming back from university and I saw Crest. There was we went to the nightclub and it was full. There wasn't a place to park. So obviously people were not afraid of evenings anymore. And it's very interesting how human psychology, no matter how bad things are, you still want to feel alive.
Yes.
No matter how hard the economic situation is, you still want to go out and flex a little bit, show that you're still alive and, spend what you have. And so that, I became very aware of that. And when I started opening the restaurant, when I was building it, people were saying, okay, you have to build a wall. You have to put barbed wire on.
For security.
Yeah. And for the viewers who have never been to Pizza and Ice Cream Club, I believe it's one of the very few establishments, not only in Plateau, but in Nigeria, that doesn't have a fence, nor does it have a gate. We don't have barbed wire anywhere. And it's exposed, when you're sitting in the restaurant, you're exposed to the roadside. And that played a very big role for me because I wanted there to be a connectivity between customer and society, to show that, okay, we don't need those walls, we don't need barbed wire. And I feel like I wanted to reconnect with Joss of the past. If you go to Amadou Bello or what's referred to as the older Joss, you will not see anyone have a gate in their property. Even if you go, there's some houses in Golden Base. If you drive by them, no one has a wall, no one has a gate. There was this kind of trust between whether it was a house owner and society or a business owner and society that, listen, we are one. We don't cause any harm. We don't want harm to be caused to us. So that was a very fundamental concept I wanted to embrace in the restaurant. That, listen, Plateau is not what you hear about it on the news. We're love. We love peace. Our motto is the home of peace and tourism. We love peace. We love connectivity with one another. And then another thing about the restaurant was when we first started, before the development of the garden and the backspace, is we only had wooden benches, which are still there today. And a lot of people were like, no, if you're coming to spend money on a pizza, you want a comfortable chair to sit and dine. But I wanted, the bench was also a very significant part for me because when our restaurant is very full and busy, what often happens is you'll see customers sitting down and talking with other customers. And this creates the opportunity for, let me say, peace building opportunity. You're able to sit with someone who may not be from the same tribe, may not be from the same religion with you, and you're sitting in a non-hostile environment, sharing a pizza with your loved ones, and it gives the opportunity to have a conversation. At the end of the day, we're all the same. No matter where you're from in the country, no matter what religion you practice, no matter what political affiliation you have, we're all the same. We're all the same, and we all have the same needs. We all have the same desires. I know we're both new parents, or something, and I believe we have the exact same goals. You may be from the south, I'm from the north. We have the exact same goals. We want the best for our child, the best education, medical care, opportunities for them. It's the same thing.
Same thing.
And I believe that giving people that opportunity to sit on benches, sitting with people that you may not know, and just having that opportunity. Okay, you see them with their family. It's a non-conflict. You start a conversation. What do you do? Oh, okay, fantastic. We may be from different religions, different this, different that, but
There's a common ground.
there's a common ground, and the common ground is pizza.
Yeah.
No, but
Amazing. I mean, pizza is a good common ground.
no, but what I wanted there to be is that opportunity for dialogue
Yeah.
among a very hurt society.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Amazing. So just hearing you say this, I'm hearing a number of things, right? It's the heart for community building,
yes,
building solid relationships, building solid community, but also healing a hurt community, the people who have gone through a lot, from, of course, with the history of the crisis and all of those things, and everybody coming out from there and providing a common ground where people can heal and interact and build back again. And I think that's really precious. I think it's really precious because it's the intentionality behind the space has allowed, in my opinion, the space to actually take its own life. And so, yeah, I have seen these kinds of interactions there at the space a number of times, right? And I think it's, like I said, I think it's just really precious.
thank you.
But now, maybe not when, but while pizza and ice cream was starting, did you have maybe like some money stacked up somewhere or how did you raise capital? Or how did you raise? Because you had already hinted before that you started off with the wooden benches because that was a way of keeping things lean, right, and not starting with a lot of money, right? But I've seen the before and after pictures of what that place looked like, and the gradual growth. So, would you walk us through the process of raising capital, starting the place, and then seeing the vision unfold?
Thank you very much for this question.
Yeah.
And I believe it goes in tandem with with the title of your podcast, which is Just Start.
Yeah.
First and foremost, regarding financing. So I was a student for about 12 years before, like I listed them for you in the Middle East, in the US, in the UK,
Nigeria.
Wari, Lagos, then Bauchi. So I had close to no money. When I did start, I had very little. And at that point, a lot of people were advising me that, okay, you're now a young, upcoming lawyer, and in law school, what they teach us is packaging. Everything is packaging,
Yeah.
So
You have to look the part.
If you look the part, you get the job. You get the client, you get the brief, you get the money.
Yeah.
So I was getting a lot of, let me say, push from especially my parents' friends. And they were very insistent that I buy a nice Mercedes. And I love cars, just to put that out there, that I do love cars. But I decided that I couldn't waste money on a car because and I use the word waste, because if I had money, if I bought a car at that stage in my life, I wouldn't have had money to even put petrol, let alone maintain the car. And I was fortunate enough to actually bequeath my late grandfather's Mercedes, which is a W123. And if you go to P&I Club, I'm sure you've seen that white Mercedes parked outside of the restaurant. And I think that car was a very big reason for my success. Because that car, when I got it, I didn't pay for it. I inherited it. And I started with the money I had, I injected it into the business. And P&I Club, when it first started, it was just and obviously, if you don't know the restaurant, you may not be able to navigate through the setting, but it's basically a cement slab with benches,
Yeah.
a roof, and a container, and then I built an oven.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the initial plan. We didn't have running water. We didn't have boxes for our pizzas. We didn't have anything because the money I had finished when I was starting, when I was starting to invest and build it. And I remember there was a well that my landlord dug up before when I took the place, and we would use the water from the well to clean the. We don't really even have forks and knives because we didn't have money to invest in them at the beginning. It was just wooden trays, and we've kept that since.
Yeah.
So basically, we just started what was the skeletal necessary part of the business for it to just start.
Yeah.
And were we able? The day we opened, we had started experimenting 2 days before because I didn't have money to even experiment too long and to do testing and tasting because that all costs money.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, the product is good.
Let's go.
Let's go. And the first people that came, thank God they all ate in the restaurant because we didn't even have takeaway packs or the pizza boxes or anything.
So if they had ordered takeout, there would have been a problem.
Yeah, and then we didn't have any requests for takeout until about the first week.
Okay.
And so let me guess, I can't even say kobo, every CC we got, because I use that word because literally everything we got had to be re-injected
into the business.
Because the first money we earned, we had to go and buy material to make a pizza. And it was only material we could only afford to pay for what we were going to consume the next day. And basically, it's fun to reminisce about this. And it is funny because that Mercedes I'm talking about, it's so old, it broke down so many times. They didn't have material at the restaurant, so I would have to jump in a KK to get them the material so that they, like onions, so that they could put in the pizza or, tomato sauce, which I would go and I would make my tomato sauce in my mom's kitchen because we didn't have anywhere to make it. So the money, every kobo kept going back in. From there, the first week after I was mentioning, we didn't get a single person asking for takeaway.
Yeah.
When the first opportunity someone asked for a takeaway and we put foil paper, I remember, God bless that customer's soul, but she was so angry at me. She chastised me so much and like, how can you expect people to pay and you don't even have a pizza box? So the money we made that day, we went and we got pizza boxes.
Wow.
So it was literally, what did they call, fire brigade system of, you've seen a problem, okay, the money you made that day, you fixed that problem. And then at the same time, I won't mention any names, but several other businesses started at the same time. And I noticed those businesses, the owner or the proprietor of that business were starting to buy new cars, starting to go to the clubs, starting to flex in one way or another. And I think most of my customers who've seen me, they see me like almost in an Almajiri look because I wasn't taking a kobo out.
Wow.
And I believe that discipline is what led to the business growing to the state where we have a garden in the back. We were able to get water connection, water tank, so that you can always have water for your customers to wash. If they want to flush a toilet, there's water. All these things become very part of the image of the business.
Yes.
You can't expect someone to go to the toilet and wash their hands and there's no running water. So, these became very fundamental. We need running water. Water board is not always there. You need water tanks.
Yes.
So you have to invest in water facilities. And then that, from throughout the years, just saving that extra kobo and putting it back into the business is what I believe now led us to develop the business to where we are now. We have two other branches, one in Amadou Bello and one at Unijos at Samshak Hotel, which is
Yeah.
across the street from the main site.
Yes.
And then I also built my legal career from this business. And it really required so much of discipline that you don't take money out. You don't take, you made 10 naira today, you don't take 10 naira out. You maybe take 50 kobo and 50 kobo go, 9 naira, 50 kobo go back into the business. And you honestly, you distance yourself from friends, from going out, from whatever it is, the distraction, and just focus on your business, because that's what's giving you relevance at that moment.
It's delayed. It's the delayed gratification.
It is the delayed gratification, exactly. And that's something I don't see in a lot of businesses.
That's where I was about to get into, because now you're already touching on very key principles for building a business that will last, right? And it's the discipline and the delayed gratification. And unfortunately, this is hard for like a lot of people, right? This is the stuff that a lot of people don't want to hear, because as soon as the money begins to come in, then you're thinking, oh, now I can buy an extra shoe. I can buy that car that I saw yesterday with my friend, that white one that that the engine is so now you've made the money, and it's almost like garbage in, garbage out. It's coming and it's going out for everything apart from the business.
Yes.
If you were to, because I would like you to speak on this and probably even talk a little more about some of the principles that you applied. Talking more on the gratification and discipline, but some of the other principles that you've applied as a business person, because you also mentioned that from P&I you've been able to build your legal practice. Sure. That is phenomenal, right? I mean, most times people will do it the other way around: build the legal practice and then get as it grows, then get some of the proceeds from here to be able to start this one on the side. But you've done it the other way around, right? I'd like you to talk about that.
Okay. By the way, your questions are fantastic. Thank you very much. I appreciate them.
Thank you.
And it gives me the opportunity to share, and I'm honored to do that.
Thank you.
So basically, I guess the overriding trait was discipline. Whatever, because everyone has ideas. I've throughout my career, throughout my life, I've heard people saying, "Okay, we're going into this project," and it's some people, they make it sound so beautiful, but have they actually scratched the surface? Have they actually broke ground? For me, that became very fundamental. That okay, you have an idea, you have to believe in it, you have to work according to it, and you have to have the discipline to give that business what it needs. Because a business is just like a human life. You need water, you need food, you need shelter, you need all these amenities. The same thing with a business. It needs its basic overheads to be met. You need to have whatever, because the last thing I want is for a customer to come and say, okay, we want this, or we don't have it. That to me was not an option. I know it happens. Unfortunately, supply chain gets broken from time to time, but overriding amount of customers that come and they want product, it should be available. So giving the business that product costs money, which is what the reinvesting goes into. And then, sorry, to go back, regarding the issue of discipline.
Yes.
I think that was something I learned from education. When I was growing up, in my primary and secondary school years, I was a horrible student. All I wanted to do was play football and, you know, whatever distraction it was, I wanted to do it. Football, basketball, um, I love volleyball, swimming. I love, growing up in Jos, you have to entertain yourself in sports. Because, like I said, because of our crisis, we couldn't go out to social events. So, what did we do with our free time, which was sports?
Yeah.
So, that to me, when I now went to university and I started noticing that if I wasn't doing well in school, I was having doors closed on me. You know, like for example, when I went to law school, unlike in the Nigerian curriculum, law is a first degree out of secondary school.
Yes.
I had my primary and secondary school, though in Jos, were based on an American education system. So I thought I was going to go to law school in America. And in America, law school is a second degree.
Yes.
So you have to have your first degree. So that's why I studied political science, because a lot like medicine, medicine in Nigeria is the first degree.
First degree, yeah.
But in the US,
It's a second
it's a
degree.
second degree, and most students do biology.
Yes.
So very similar in law, most students for pre-law, they study political science. And when I was doing political science, I started realizing, okay, I was getting coached to go into law school, and everything became about grades. You have the grades that it takes to get into a top tier law school, a second tier law school, or a third or fourth year. So I realized that, okay, for me to get the grades that I want to go into a top tier law school, because if I go into a top tier law school, I'll get into a top tier law firm. And if I get into a top tier law firm, I'm going to get a top tier salary.
Yes.
So it's basically how it goes. So hearing that, you're not going to get into a top tier law school because you're not performing was a really big fear for me, because when I was going through university, when I was going through secondary school, planning to go to university, it was the grades that mattered.
Yeah.
Okay, if you don't have the good grades, you're not going to get into a good university. And that, okay, if I don't perform, I'm not going to get what I want. I was very lucky and blessed that I did get into the university of my choice for my undergrad. I don't know how, but I did, thank God. And then from there, I became extremely serious about my education. And I realized that the way I became, everyone has their own way of life.
Yes.
Some people can study listening to music. I can't. For me to study, I need to be in a completely
Quiet
unstimulated room. No music, it has to be a nice, temperature so you're not too hot. I have to be well fed so I can, so there's all these systems I had to put in place. And then I would literally shut myself out from the world. For me to focus, I phone away, no distractions. And that took a lot of discipline because, people are going to parties, people are going for lunches, people are, enjoying the weather outside, whatever it is. I couldn't do that. I had to be in a library, and for some reason, I spend a lot of time. Like, so if it takes you 2 hours to study something, it takes me 5 to 6 hours.
Wow.
So I'm much slower than the average person. So that required me to spend so much time in a library. And I guess that discipline was rewarded because when I graduated top of my department.
Amazing.
So that, and that instant gratification, okay, you got into your you got the grades you wanted. Now when I was applying for law schools, it was a piece of cake. I got into my first pick law school, no problem. When I got into law school, I was like, okay, I'm going to follow that pattern I set in my undergrad.
Yeah.
And from literally day one, and because I had great mentors that told me, listen, when you go to university, it's not about fun. It's not about instant gratification. can you delay your gratification now for the gratification in the future?
In the future.
You know, can you risk or put aside popularity now, going out to parties now, going out for this now, for later gratification? And that continued in university, in law school. And from day one, you're in the library, you know, we started, I even noticed how in the West, people even pack their lunches so that you don't waste time going to, let's say, the Mami market or whatever it is to get your lunch. And because when you're going out, you're going to see your friends. You're going to say, hey, what's up?
And then that's distraction.
And then from there, you know, hey, let's go chill or let's go and do whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I started learning from their study habits in the West that, okay, because there it's basically life or death. You know, you can't, failure is not an option, you know, and I love that drive. And then, so I was always in the library. So I went to law school in London, which is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. And people are like, when you were in London, did you go here? Did you go? And I really, no.
You didn't go anywhere.
I was at home.
Studying.
And then I was in the library. And then I had a Yoruba friend named Adiola who was my guy. And then, you know, maybe once in a week we would go out to like a Nigerian restaurant just to remove that homesickness. But then I was rewarded. Okay, I graduated with a distinction. Then the law firm, I got to pick the law firm of my choice. You know, you're not looking, how can you help me anymore? It's no, we want you. So that discipline and real discipline, because I've spent nights in the law library. I've gone into exams. I'll be crying because I'm so tired. I'm so fatigued. I'm so stressed. You know, it's part of it. And, you know, thank God I was able to do this and graduate in one piece and with the grades I wanted, because it kept opening doors. You know, when I wanted to come to law school in Nigeria. It was nobody even asked me a second question. It's not like, okay, I didn't score so well. Who do I know? Can you please help me? No, you have your grades. You get put into the program. Then I was offered jobs at law firms. At that point, I realized, okay, I have to come back to Jos. So that wasn't an option. But that discipline that I learned from my
the academic rigor,
I now applied it to my business. You know, it's very easy once you start a business. Okay, let's buy a car. Let's buy a new watch. Let's buy this. Let's go spend it in, you know, restaurants or nights out with friends. You know, let's flex.
Yeah.
Let's enjoy what we have worked for. But it was not that at all. It was, and then another mentor I had always told me that, you know, a business, you can't remove money out of it until after year 3 or year 5. And that also stuck with me a lot, because I'm like, okay, we're earning, but we can't extract from the business. We can't start going out. And honestly, I think the first, let me say, 5 to 6 years, I didn't leave Jos. I did leave. I did an arbitration program in Abuja, and we had a graduation in Lagos. So aside from those 2 trips, I didn't leave Jos. To show you that I wasn't spending anything, like literally not a thing. You know, the same clothes I had when I started, I didn't buy anything. I didn't say I want to go to Flex. No. And I really do believe this was, let me say, one of the paramount reasons to the success of the business. I was so, the discipline and dedication I got from studying, I transferred it to the business, and I was like, okay, I don't have a lot to work with to start, but what I'm making, it must go back into the business. And then and I guess that's how it all started.
Wow. You see, the reason I asked this because, like you had earlier mentioned, a lot of people struggle with this. There's also the place where I get asked the reality that people say, oh, so but if I'm not taking anything out of this business, how do I survive? Right? Knowing that this is all that I have, I don't have any other job, especially because a lot of people in Nigeria start businesses either because they didn't get a job. Most times a lot of businesses are started out of circumstances. Currently in Nigeria, many people there are fewer people who started a business because they're like very entrepreneurial. For many other people, it's because it was survival. Right now, for the entrepreneur who is or the person who is in survival mode, right, is living day by day.
Yeah.
Right. How do they apply this principle in their own business? Because you don't want to kill the business, but you don't also want to die.
Of course. Of course.
You understand? So the bills are piling, and then the business needs to grow. And if I'm going to keep reinvesting in the business, how do I survive?
So I guess the short answer to that question is to live within your means. To expand on that, basically, obviously, like you said, you can't kill yourself. But not if you have a bowl of gari, is going to sustain you the same way having a meal, a sushi, fancy at a 5-star restaurant will sustain you.
You'll probably be when if you eat the guy, you'll probably be full.
Full for longer.
The fancy restaurant, you just nibble here and there, and that's all.
Exactly, and you'll be counting your money as you spend it.
Yeah.
Right? So, from my personal journey with this, for example, I didn't rent. I didn't. When I rented, I didn't get a house. I actually rented a boys' quarters to someone's house, and you can ask all my friends, and they will attest that yes, I rented a boys' quarters, and it was the minimum amount of rent I could pay. Like I mentioned, both my parents are in Jos, so I always eat for free. I always go to my family house and eat.
Oh, God bless good families.
God bless good parents. Mom, Dad, thank you so much for everything. But no, seriously, it goes a very long way. Cutting, what do they say? Cutting your thread according to your size.
Cutting your coat according to your size.
Correct. Yeah. So not having a very big circle of friends. One thing I noticed, I would go out and I would see my friends from childhood, and the moment you would go out, and this happened to me maybe 2 or 3 times, we went and my friends would be in let's say in a restaurant, and they would order everything. And then I would come and I'd order a very small dish, and then I'll start noticing my friends would trickle out of the restaurant, and then I'll be left with the bill.
Oh my goodness.
So this happened maybe 2 or 3 times. So they say, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So I say, you know what? Maybe it's not good to be going out or whatever it is. Because I realized, okay, I'm spending for people that I don't have that money.
Yes.
And if I'm spending on people, then I shouldn't, I basically don't even have money to re-inject into my business. I know this might be a controversial one. I was single for most of this period. I didn't date. I didn't have side chicks. I'm sorry I'm saying this on your show, but it's a very fundamental thing, because that's another thing I realized. Once people start earning anything, they'll start, having a girlfriend, 2, 3, and it's all an expensive lifestyle. So me, with my very little life, I actually even, I got a dog for companionship. And I think maybe my customers who know me from way back will even attest that, yes, I took my dog everywhere because I wasn't seeing people. And I needed some kind of, companionship that was basically free.
Yeah.
I don't have to take my dog out and flex on
them.
And it really was a very solitary life.
Wow.
Very similar to my education that I keep stressing on.
Yeah.
And basically, yeah, that's how it really was. Keep a very low life, live within your
Live
means,
within your means.
not too big of a circle of friends, no side chicks. I couldn't stress this. I know it sounds like a joke.
That's an expensive life.
It really is. It really is. Because, like I said, growing up here, you see people's lives.
Yeah.
You, at the end of the day, you'll be gisting with your people and they'll tell you how they are suffering because of these decisions. So, okay, must we fall into the same mistake, or can we learn from
their
our
mistakes.
peers' mistakes and maybe try adjusting it if we can, So I know it sounds like a joke, but it's really a very key point.
Key point, yeah. Yeah, totally. You talked about expansion, right? Pizza and Ice Cream Club is in Samshak, is in Amadou Bello, apart from the main Rayfield location.
And another location coming
Okay,
soon.
another location. Oh, amazing. Hey, you guys got to hear that for free. Right. So now with all these expansion projects happening, how do you on one hand handle the more staff, a larger team?
Yeah.
Right? Because now you have staff across various locations. But how do you also ensure quality? How do you ensure that the quality is kept same? Quality of the product, quality of service is kept same across the various locations?
So I think that's a two-tier answer.
Yes.
The first tier would be the service. So the service, aside from the food aspect, there's the customer engagement with the staff. Now, for me, this is something I'm very proud of because I can boast my chest and say we pay the highest salaries in Jos or in Plateau State. And if you're paying that, then you're paying in most of northern Nigeria. And because I've also checked with people in Abuja, we pay salaries better than they pay in restaurants in Abuja.
Wow.
We pay all medical expenses for our staff. We pay education. So if any of our staff...
Are you sure you're not going to start getting applications when this thing goes out?
So the reason I'm saying this is because I think it's, as a business owner, it's extremely, extremely critical to have the people around you that are handling your business to also be able to get something out. That does not mitigate theft or, whatever, unfortunately. But at the end of the day, at least my conscience is clear that people who come to us are taken care of. And then, especially the staff who work the shift, the full day shift, they have breakfast, they have lunch, and they have dinner. So no matter what you're coming from, you're going to eat so that you can at least, do your duties.
And put in your best.
Yeah. So, and obviously food is not I can't say that I want someone to come who works for me is just the only thing they can take from that day is they fed themselves. No, that's why, if you have medical, we'll pay for you. If you have education, we'll advance your education. And then we pay the best salaries. Now, what I believe this does is that it gives the staff member, or the way we refer to them as team member, the ability to do the job to the best of their performance. And now there's always consistent coaching of, okay, when a customer comes, if they don't have a good experience, how can we now protect the customer? How can we make it right? We have a logo in the restaurant, which is, if you don't like our pizza, we would replace it on the spot. So basically, you don't like something, you come to us, and we'll get it done. Like I said, so I love Mama Put joints, okay? But unfortunately, not all Mama Put joints have fantastic customer care.
Yes. Oh, that's almost like the trademark for many of them.
See, I can never badmouth Mama Put because they have been my life's nourishment. So let me not overstep my boundaries. And all
So that
mamas,
tomorrow,
God
if you go there now, they will not say he's the one that is spoiling our business.
Mommy, I love you. I'm grateful. Thank you for everything. But the idea of, let's say now you weren't very satisfied
Yes.
with your experience or with your meal, and you take it with a complaint. For once, I won't mention where, but we got egusi, and in the egusi there was the stockfish.
Yeah.
The stockfish that was caught still had the hook that caught the fish in it,
Oh.
and it was prepared. So when I took it to the mama, I said, please, there's a hook in my fish. I don't know why that, as if it was anything to complain about, but I told her that, and I'll never forget. She just looked at me and she said, I'm sorry. That I'm sorry, like, okay, there's nothing I can do. I didn't want our customers to have that similar kind of situation, which is, okay, you come, you said, you didn't like our service, and all we have to tell you is we're sorry. I wanted to be able to say, okay, you didn't like your experience, please, let's make it right. Let's correct our error. You are the most important thing to our business, and we respect you, and we acknowledge that you have come and you've spent your hard-earned money, and we want to give you your proper return on investment. You've come, you've come to dine with your family, your loved ones. If you didn't go right, and it's our fault, let's fix it.
Yeah, so it's value for money.
It's not a big deal, and I can't tell you how much that has also helped the business, because our customers realize, it's not just about money. Their well-being, their satisfaction is extremely important. So, I think that's, first of all, on the customer, the service perspective, and now on the food control. When, like I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, when we first started, the tomato sauce, we were making it in my mom's kitchen. Now, because we've been able to reinvest in the business, we built a central kitchen.
Okay.
And that central kitchen has played a fundamental part in consistency across the branches. Because I don't want a customer go to one of the branches and have a different experience or taste from the other branches. So having a central kitchen gave us the ability to control our product, so that no matter where you're eating it, the product, you're getting the exact same taste. And then taking care of our staff gives you the same experience. So the staff and the central kitchen having a high standard is what gives the basic same experience to the customer every time.
Okay. So at the central kitchen, everything is made there?
Yes, everything is made there.
And sent to the various locations.
Exactly.
I see.
And then, basically, that way you have the same tomato sauce, the same, what's the word? Condiment or toppings on the pizza are the same everywhere, and they taste the same.
Did you develop the recipes by yourself?
Yes, a day before we opened, because just get started. People, everyone's like, what type of pizza are you gonna do? What type of this? I said, Jerry, I don't have time for that. Just let's start.
The first thing that, and this was it. It was my wife that pointed my attention to this. The very first time we went there, she called my attention. She said, "Look at this menu. The menu is straight to the point. It doesn't have too many options. Like it doesn't have. Sometimes you see a menu and the options are so many you get confused, right? And then she said, "Look at this. Like the ice cream is this, or this. Straight to the point. This is this one. So you're not confused like with so many options." And then I think I get it now. It was how you started. Like let's just start. Let's just start, and then I mean, over time, the menu has. I mean, the I think the options on the menu has increased a little bit.
Forgive me for correcting you.
Yeah.
It hasn't changed.
It
at all.
hasn't?
No, we started with 8 pizzas. We're still on those same 8 pizzas.
Oh.
The only thing that's changed is our ice cream.
Okay.
We had self-serve ice cream, but now we have scoop ice cream.
Oh.
Yeah. That's the only thing that's changed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Now, I want you to talk a little bit about doing business so far. Now, these almost 9 years, 8+ years you've been doing. What has the experience been like generally? You've talked about the start.
Yeah.
But in running it, all this, and you've talked about a bit about the customer service and all of that, but the overview of running this business so far, what has it been like? And on the heels of that, I want you to touch on surviving COVID, because I know that you guys were already operational before COVID. COVID probably happened in your first when you guys were probably about 3 or 4 years. So
2 years.
2 years,
Yeah.
right? So now surviving COVID. I think you guys did some amazing stuff during that period, but I want you to talk about that by yourself.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah.
So basically, we haven't just had COVID in the sense that's harmed businesses in Nigeria. In the last few years, we've had COVID. In Plateau, unfortunately, we've continued to have this sectarian violence. We had the End SARS protest. We've had continuous protest. And the reason I bring these up is because these are horrible for business. As a business owner, you realize that the quieter things are, the better it is for business.
Yes.
So what do I mean by that? When there's not a lot of political clout, when they're not removing fuel subsidies, or it's better for business. When things are quiet, when you allow business to do what it's meant to do, then that's actually the best environment for a business to thrive.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that COVID and these other
Disruptions.
let me say force majeure instances that we've been through that were beyond our control. What they were extremely difficult for the business, and it was also extremely scary. So what do I mean by that? When we first started the business, it was so fantastic. We had very high patronage. We saw people from different walkways of life coming to patronize the restaurant. And overall, the economy was, I make an argument, in a better situation. Nothing to do with politics or anything. It was, the Naira could get you far further than it can today.
Yes.
So basically, COVID and these other force majeure instances, what they did was they made business owners look internally. Because what happens in these kinds of instances is that the patronage decreases.
Yes.
So you are basically not making as much revenue. Now, what businesses may do at this point is they may slash standards. And that for me was a big no-no. And nor was it to slash the benefits of the staff members. So you can't compromise on the product, nor can you compromise on what your staff is taking home at the end of the day. So what it does, in effect, is allows a business owner to look internally in the business. And what I guess the best way to explain it is to remove excess fat. You try to create a more lean business with, let me say, reducing your overhead cost without compromising these two factors, which are the product and the staff. And what this did was it allowed for decrease in overhead without compromising the product. Like, for example, when we first started, because we didn't have anywhere to process our like, for example, our most popular pizza is the half suya, half spicy smoked chicken. Now, both of this pizza has two, or let me say, four very expensive commodities, which is the tomato sauce, the suya, the chicken, and the cheese. Now, out of these four commodities I listed, three of them are made by us now. Before, the tomato sauce, like I mentioned, was being done at my mom's kitchen. The suya, we were buying already processed suya because we didn't have anywhere to grill it.
Yeah.
We were buying already processed suya from my main plug that I get my suya from. And the same thing with the chicken. So this was, now I was already paying for someone else's overhead costs.
Yes.
And, bringing it into the business. So when COVID hit, I realized, okay, we can't do this anymore. We need to start doing it internally. So we were able to invest in this central kitchen. And the central kitchen now allowed us to buy our raw material and process it ourselves. So we cut out the middleman. So that created it helped us reduce a huge chunk of our overhead. And then, if anything, it didn't compromise the quality, it made it better. Because we are now doing it ourselves, and the high standard that we wanted to run it at. Because, for example, buying suya from a local vendor, it may not follow the most hygienic processes.
Yes.
For example, the meat can be left to store outside around flies.
Yes.
I'm not going to complain because that's the best suya you can have in the world. But, when there's the extra flies, if you have suya without flies, it doesn't taste as good. But, from a hygienic perspective, and trying to create the highest standard possible for the customer, you're going to have to negate the flies. So doing that created a higher level product at a lower overhead cost for us. So this is an example of how we had to look internally at the business and shave off the unnecessary fat. And throughout the business, there was so many other things we had to do of this nature to reduce overhead costs without affecting the product and the staff take home. And then, so COVID hit, NSARS hit, all the sectarian violence has hit. So all those instances because our customer is not as willing to go out when the fuel subsidy was removed. It hurt everyone. No matter on what spectrum of the economy you were on, the removal of fuel subsidy affected you. So for patrons of the restaurant, naturally their disposable income was affected. They weren't able to, go out as much with their family, with their loved ones or whatever. So what this now made us do is, okay, let's look in. How can we remove fat? Is it our suppliers are, selling us a higher cost? Let's go to a different supplier. We're getting the same product, but for a lesser cost. So these were the internal types of slashes that need to be done, whether it was COVID or any of these other force majeure events that happened within the last 8 years of the existence of the restaurant.
In this work, has there been any experience that you would say was probably the most difficult experience you've had, either especially with a customer or with an order? Something really difficult, maybe even borderline embarrassing, and how did you handle it?
So before we answered the last question, you mentioned how small, that your wife commented on how simple our menu was. Now, I would like to add that to this answer, please.
Okay.
our menu, like I mentioned, was we've had the 8 original pizzas and they haven't changed. The only thing that I mentioned was the ice cream that changed.
Yeah.
And this business model was following a very prominent business model, which is KISS, which is keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
And that for me, having a very simple menu removes embarrassments. What do I mean by that is, okay, you go to a restaurant. A customer is saying, okay, I want X product. And you not being able to serve customer X product is in itself an embarrassment. And not only is it an embarrassment, but it's bad for business.
Yeah.
Because the customer that came to your place of business with the intention of spending money now has the option, okay, will they go for another product, a substitute product, or will they say, okay, I'm not interested, and they'll take the money that they came to spend and they'll take it out. And unfortunately, money is the lifeline of a business. So if you're doing that, that's an embarrassment that can ruin your business. So basically, a customer coming and saying, I want this product, and they not have it, or you're saying, sorry, it's not available.
Yeah.
That in itself is an extremely embarrassing instance. So that's one instance I've been very embarrassed, and I try never to have it happen. Like I said, unless there's a cut in the supply chain, then we always have that product. Now, another instance is, when we were growing, like I said, because we just wanted to start, we didn't have a toilet. So, I've seen customers, chastise me that, where are we going to wash our hands? Where are we going to, ease ourselves when we come to your establishment? And these things, they made me cringe with embarrassment, because how can I start a business and then someone, like literally, like, because I know whenever I eat, I wash my hands before I eat. It's basic hygiene.
Yeah.
So how are you telling a customer, come to an establishment, you're about to pay for a pizza, but there's nowhere to wash your hands? So because I started at the basic, what I needed to basically just run the business, I did have a lot of instances of that kind of embarrassment. I used the example earlier that a customer came and wanted, for the first time, they wanted a takeout. And we put it in a foil paper because we didn't have takeaway pizza box. That was a huge embarrassment, because she chastised me. She was yelling at me.
Wow.
Now, what kind of nonsense business is this? How can I will never come back here again, and you're saying, please, you just have to beg.
Yeah.
And then from there, okay, immediately go and fix this problem. So I've had staff members, unfortunately, speak to customers in very rude ways, which was ultimately very embarrassing. But if you follow this KISS business model, it helps. I really do recommend it, because it helps reduce the level of embarrassment. Your customers are getting what they want, because you don't have a menu that's 20 pages. Your menu is one page, and you have what's on that menu. I won't use any names, but I've gone to so many restaurants in Nigeria where it's 20 pages the menu, and they'll advertise to have everything under God's green earth. And you go, you say, I want this, or it's not available. Okay, I want this, it's not available. So what is there?
What is there?
There's tuwo, there's rice. So I feel that kind of it really does harm the business, having a very lavish menu. And then, for those who've been to the restaurant, it's a very simple business.
Very.
And for those who haven't, like we described it in this show, it's basically just a cement slab, wooden benches, a fire oven, and a container. There's nothing else that happens. There's no hidden tricks or treasures.
Yeah. You get to see
everything.
Everything. It gets into the oven right in your face.
Exactly. And that really does save us from a lot of embarrassment. The customer sees what they're getting, for new customers, usually they have a look, because your first interaction, the interface is with the cashier,
Yeah.
where you place your order. And from there, you get to look into the container, which is where your pizza and your ice cream are being processed.
Yes.
So it's a very, very transparent business where a customer knows exactly what they're getting. And I feel that if a customer knows exactly what they're getting, that room for embarrassment becomes minimum.
Yeah.
And when an embarrassment happens, it's fundamental to address it in the proper way, which is not to shrug it off. You know, like there's a very common expression in hospitality, which is the customer is always right. I watched a movie, I think it's called Hotel Tanzania or something like that, Hotel Rwanda.
Yeah.
Hotel Rwanda. And in that movie, there was a quote, which is, it goes beyond saying that the customer is always right to the customer is God. Now, not to be blasphemous in any shape or form, but for a business, a customer is your lifeline. A customer coming and spending their money on your product is your lifeline.
Yeah.
So in essence, it does have that, it creates life.
Yeah.
You can have the most beautiful restaurant
And if
or the
nobody's
most
coming
beautiful
in,
business. If there's no one coming in,
it's dead.
there's no life. There's no, there's really no essence to that business. So that experience that, the customer is always right, or if you want to go a step further and say the customer is God, it gives you the ability that, okay, if your customer has a bad experience, which is bound to happen, how can we correct it, and how can we correct it immediately? Like I said in the example, you go to a Mama Put joint, I didn't like it. The only answer you're going to get is, yeah, sorry.
Sorry, yeah.
No, we can't do that. Let's say, okay, let's make it right. You didn't like your pizza? Let's make you another one. Yes, people have abused that, but in essence, most people don't abuse business. They'll say, okay, we either really liked it or we didn't like it. Yes, we would like another one. And then you serve them another pizza. Yes, and naturally the pizza you serve them is for free. And, yes, it does harm your sales for that day, because you're using product that's not been paid for. But at the end of the day, I believe you will gain a customer for life.
So you lose product for the day, but you get a customer for life.
Yes, I think, and that's a very fundamental trait. That don't push your customer away, because, we have, let me say, this copycat mentality in business in Nigeria, especially in Plateau State. Like, for example, when pure water became a business in Plateau,
everybody,
before you close your eye, every mom and pop business is a pure water hub. Very similar with shawarma. I do not know any Ongwa as we speak today in Plateau State that does not have a shawarma joint. I'm sure in every local government, in every Ongwa, in every corner,
everywhere.
So if you don't give the customer that kind of experience, if you don't show the customer that they are of value, and that, yes, we have embarrassed ourselves, but please allow us to correct it. Please, we value you, and we want you to always feel that you're valued. So I think that really does create the customer saying, okay, fine, I didn't like my experience, but I'll give them a second shot.
Yeah.
They appeal to the human in me. I'm not just, they're not just after my money. And then I believe that's the way to get over an embarrassment.
Yeah.
Because there are going to be so many of them.
There will be. There will be. Now, coming from the fact that you had all this study in 4 different continents, to become a lawyer, professional, well-trained, didn't it make you feel a bit awkward serving pizzas? Like, this is this well-trained lawyer, now he's like doing pizza. Did you ever feel awkward at some point about it, because I mean, law is very professional. I know how lawyers carry themselves. There's a prestige around law, an air around lawyers. And then how did you even make that mind shift between law and pizza?
Thanks for the question. So this is a very, I guess, personal question.
Okay.
The reason being is because I really did pride, or I do pride myself on being a lawyer.
Yeah.
And I do pride myself on being the first lawyer in Nigeria's history that has my complexion. I know it's not any milestone, but there were a lot of discriminations that I did face to get to become a lawyer. That's another conversation for another day. But qualifying, doing NYSC fully, yes, these are things I'm extremely proud of. Going through those endless library hours, yes, I'm very proud of being a lawyer. Now, the first night we opened, after I finished, because so when we opened, I didn't believe, I still don't believe in this Oga mentality, which is that, you know, you start a business and then you just sit back.
And then watch.
You watch it to run.
And let them do their thing.
Nothing like that. For those older patrons of the P&I Club, Pizza and Ice Cream Club, would definitely attest that I served them their pizza. I made their pizza and I served them, and I took their receipt and I cleaned the toilets, and because I don't believe in this Oga mentality that, you know, someone come and hold my briefcase, someone come and open my door, or, you know, wash my car or whatever. No. You have a task, you do it. And I believe there's no better leader than setting an example. So if I was to show my people that, okay, despite having my education, I'm going to clean the toilet because it's my time to do it.
Yes.
Then who can now go and say, why am I not? Why should I not do it?
Yeah.
Or you see trash on the floor, pick it up.
Yes.
You know, a customer finished a product and they discarded it on the floor, pick it up. There's no shame in it. There is no shame in keeping a place pristinely clean.
Yeah.
And there's definitely no shame in doing honest business. Let me say God-fearing business. There's really no shame in it. So that mentality of, okay, doing this, putting the, you know, rolling up your sleeves and doing the hard work. It's to now go back to the first night we opened. You know, I came back to my parents' house and I was filthy. I had flour on me from making pizzas. You know, I think I even cut my fingers. So I had a bandage. You know, I looked like I had just gone through a WrestleMania fight, you know, and I lost. And I remember that night, my dad cried.
Wow.
Yeah, he was very upset with me. And the reason was, and he said it to me, he's like, how can you spend, and the reason he cried, I believe, is because my dad paid for my education.
Yeah.
And saying that, that's also to tie back to our beginning of this conversation, why I had to come back to Jos.
Yes.
Okay, so because of being so blessed and my parents taking such good care of me, I could not abandon them. So my dad seeing me crying, my dad crying on the first night after seeing me so dirty, knowing how much money he had spent on my education, was very, I'm not going to lie, it made me feel like, am I doing the right thing? Am I really, is this the biggest mistake of my career? You know, going from law, now going to opening a restaurant. You know, what am I doing? But, you know, I have to say that it was the best decision I ever made.
Wow.
You know, and that also NYSC. You know how NYSC it breaks your character. Any type of pride you have when you're walking in. Because I remember my first week in camp, I was walking to the Mami market, and it was Hamatan and Bauchi, and it was freezing
So
cold. So I remember I went in track pants, and then one soldier saw me. He called me. He said, "Come here." I was like, "What? We've already finished our parade. We finished the whole day. I just want to go and get something to eat. Leave me." And he said, "Sit on the floor." And I said, "What are you telling me? Like, I'm a barrister. You can't tell me to sit on the floor." But he said, I sat on the floor very quickly and very quietly before, anything escalated. But all that, it made me say, okay, this pride will only harm me. So remove pride. Get into this business. Because if I was to say I'm a lawyer in Jos, and like I said, I didn't have the option of leaving Jos because my dad is here and he's retired here. So I couldn't leave Jos. And in law school we have this thing called court attachment and chamber attachment. So when you're in law school, you can go anywhere in the country for a few months and you're attached to a court and to a chambers.
Okay.
And then when I was attached to the chamber I was working in, the head of department was earning 30,000 naira at the time, which was a few years back, and it was much more than 30,000 naira now.
Yeah, but it's
still nothing.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, even if I worked in a law firm, how many years am I going to have to work before I can even repay my father for my education? So that mentality of saying, yes, I'm a lawyer, it's not going to get me very far. Because I have to be in Jos. Jos is not the most commercially viable state because of, the violence we talked about. So what ended up happening was I said, you know what? Damn pride, let me do something so that I will be able to have a platform to practice my law. Because I knew that if I was able to create a business, a sustainable business, then I could slowly start to pull myself out of it and, basically start allowing for my law career to kick off.
Right.
Yeah. And then because of this business, I'm now able to, I have my own law firm. I'm now able to practice law every day, which is what I want to be doing. And for those who are patrons of the restaurant, my chambers and my law firm are literally 30 to 40 steps away from each other. So, to answer your question, having that kind of pride that I'm a lawyer and changing to, let's say, into becoming a baker, not that one is higher than the other or more important than the other.
Yes.
But they're just different walkways of life.
Different. Yes.
So for me to make that transition was a necessity. You need to have something in life to sustain you. You need something in life that can get you to where you can start chasing your dreams. And so the restaurant, I love it. It's, it's like a baby to me. Like it's literally my child.
It is.
Like we're both young fathers. The amount of time you spend with your child, I think a business requires even more time. Because at least, especially if you're not a single parent, you can share the responsibility.
Yes.
But as a business owner without partners, I had to bear all the responsibility. So basically, I don't see it in any way, shape, or form as changing a career or it was only allowing me as a stepping stone to do what I actually want to be doing.
I see.
And having a business, funny enough, it now allows me to be on a platform with top lawyers because we're all earning, we're all able to, how can I say it? In the profession, I guess the lowest tier of lawyer, we call ourselves charge and bail lawyer. Or, lawyers that are looking for appearance fee.
Yeah.
So basically you're just making ends meet.
Yes.
And of course I've done all of that. But, having that business has now elevated me from that, let me say, all kudos to lawyers who are charge and bail lawyers or looking for their appearance fees. But having a daily income allowed me to, practice in a different way.
Yeah.
Show my clients that I'm not a hungry person. You can come to me. And most of my clients are businesses. So having a business also shows them as an example that I am able to
relate.
Exactly. And I'm able to operate in our business environment. And it's also given me a lot of experience that I can now give my clients.
Yes.
To share with them.
Oh, that's good. Actually, because now you have a business, so you've tested some of the things that you'll be sharing with them to say, these recommendations have worked here. I think that if you do this, so that's like a double advantage. You're their legal, what's it called now? Legal counsel. But then you also have the business background, so you can advise them from a business person's perspective.
Absolutely.
Great. As we tie this up, I know that you're quite passionate about the environment, right? And how has your passion for the environment as well as inclusivity across different people groups and even with people living with disabilities, how have those two things impacted the way you do business?
Thank you. I think this is my favorite question of the interview. So first and foremost, regarding, I would like to talk about two things.
Sure.
The environment and then people living with disabilities. Basically, living in the West gave me a lot of exposure to how, first of all, the environment is protected. So, for example, I once went to California, and in California there was signboards that said if you litter, which is if you consume a product and you throw it on the floor, there's $1,000 penalty.
$1,000?
Yes. So let's say the exchange rate now is 1,600 to the dollar. That's 1.6 million naira just for throwing, and if you're caught. And that's as if you're like a Tom wrapper.
Yeah.
If you're done, you consuming it, you throw it.
Wow.
And this became, I love that. How well the environment was protected in the West. And then I came back to Nigeria and I noticed almost the polar opposite. I noticed from personal perception that any consumer, whatever you're eating, whatever you're doing or you're consuming, at the end of the day, the product that you are consuming was wrapped in, or was packaged. That package, once you're finished consuming, you just throw it anywhere you want, any way you want. And it's not even an issue. People couldn't care less.
Yeah.
I remember like a week ago, I was watching a video on social media. They were comparing a lollipop and a bar of soap. You smell it, you smell the bar of soap, you lick
the lollipop.
And it was like showing a cognitive correlation that you will be bound to get it wrong.
Yeah.
But my takeaway from that clip was, okay, the person who took the lollipop, he unwrapped the lollipop and he just disregarded the wrapper. The same thing with the bar of soap. And the people around him, no one even batted an eye. And I think that was, a fundamental issue in our society, that we are destroying our environment and we're none the wiser.
Yeah.
We don't even know we're doing it. You know, at the end of the day, you'll be. Let's say you're thirsty.
Yeah.
You consume a pure water sachet. You just disregard it. And that, another conversation is, where are we even meant to disregard it? Where are we meant to throw it? Do we even have a proper
Proper
trash
waste management system.
So that's another conversation. But, you know, this system of waste management became very important to me. In the restaurant, I pride myself that I believe we are one of the very few businesses and one of the first businesses to have waste management segregation. So what does that mean? Let's say in a normal day, we consume, let's say, about 2 kilos, hypothetically, of waste. That 2 kilos can be compartmentalized into different categories.
Okay.
So first of all, there's the soft plastic, which is basically your pure water
Yeah.
nylon,
Yeah.
the nylon bag
Yeah.
that, the black nylon bag.
Yes.
That's soft plastic. Hard plastic is, like, for example,
PET bottles.
PET bottles. Then we have paper, tin. You know, the tin, because in our restaurant we use a lot
Yeah.
of tin because of some of our products. So the tin can now be segregated into its own department. Paper can be segregated into its own. Soft plastic and hard plastic. And the last is decomposed. So even our decomposed waste, we store it and then we give it to local farmer, people in our community.
Wow.
We give it to them for free as a, let's say, corporate social responsibility project.
Okay.
And it's also a way of building a neighborhood bond, you know. And then our hard plastic, like you mentioned, our PEP bottles, at the end of the day, and all of this is segregated because it makes waste dignified. Let's say, for example, we put everything in one pile. If we now told someone to come and remove a plastic bottle, go and use it to put kunu or zobo or whatever small business, micro business you're operating, they would be very reluctant.
Yeah.
But with the way we do it, because we segregate our plastic bottles, every morning, women in our community who sell zobo, kunu, line up from early as 5 in the morning.
Wow.
They'll come and they'll pick the bottles because they're clean. They refer to them as first use. And that's the way it's referred to in the market. It's the first use after it was consumed by, let's say the original product was whatever.
Yeah.
Once the customer has consumed it and has, disposed of it.
That's first use.
That's first use. No, the customer, the vendor the small business that takes it, that's referred to as first use.
Oh, okay.
So the bottle is still in a very good integrity. It doesn't look like it's been used a lot. And then that vendor can sell their kunu or zobo for a premium price, as opposed to someone whose bottle looks decrepit and dirty. So this trash segregation system there's multiple avenues. Like I mentioned, we can sell our tin.
Yes.
The hard plastic we can give to promote local businesses for micro businesses. The decomposed can be used by farmers. Fertilizer is very expensive.
Yeah.
The decomposed we're giving it for free.
Yeah, and that's organic.
Organic waste, exactly. And at the end of the day, you have reduced your 5 levels of trash into one, which is soft plastic. And soft plastic is literally cancer for the earth, because there's nothing you use it after. Like the nylon bag, the pure water bag. You can't really use it after. So we actually have a policy where we don't use nylon bags in our business. A lot of customers have even you asked about embarrassing things. My customers, we are buying something, you're not giving us a nylon bag. I know we have this kind of nylon bag
culture in Nigeria.
So like even if you go to a vendor and you buy one tom-tom,
they'll put in
you're required to put that tom-tom in a nylon bag, right? So what we do is we completely we don't use it. There's 3 rules of recycling, which are reduce, reuse, and recycle. So for nylon bags, we reduce. We try not to use it. We don't even give our customers. The other trash we make, we try finding a
Other
use
uses.
for it. So that now, like I said, your trash has reduced by 1/5. And the soft nylon that you are consciously not consuming nor giving is very minimum. So, that to me was how I was able to use the business to follow a passion I have, which is the environment. Not only am I into waste management, but I'm actually writing my thesis in UniJOS, in environmental law, on the conservation of our wildlife. So fauna and fauna, wildlife, yeah.
Amazing.
And then the second topic we wanted to talk about was
People
living with disabilities.
Yes.
So I don't know if you would say my father has a disability,
Okay.
but he's elderly. And, I noticed that people who are living with disabilities in Nigeria are ostracized in society. They're not given an opportunity to come out. So one example I use often is, have you noticed our roads in Jos? Thank God we have roads in Jos that were developed. But, where the footpaths are, the walkways, and in between the lanes,
Yes.
there's the divisions. Have you ever noticed how high those divisions are?
Yes.
They're about maybe 2 feet or 2.5 feet. Let's say half a meter high. They're quite high.
They're high.
And have you noticed that no elderly person can actually go up those stairs, that division? So even if an elderly person wants to cross a road, it's almost impossible. Often at times you'll see the elderly will, on the division, if they're crossing the road, they'll actually sit down on the floor in the division and they'll put their feet up, and then once they're off the road, they'll roll to a stand. And very similarly, people who have wheelchairs, there's no way they can function in our society. People who are blind, they can't function in our society. These instances, show us that our society is being built without taking into account people who live with disabilities.
Yeah.
And for me, when I was starting the restaurant, one of my dad's key advice to me was that I should have a wheelchair ramp at the restaurant. And, something as insignificant as having a wheelchair ramp. And though a lot of my customers who do come don't have a disability, because like I said, people who have disabilities don't come out in Nigeria. It's very difficult for them to operate and have a life with dignity. So at most times, through societal pressures or family pressures, they end up staying at home. But creating a wheelchair ramp in a business has allowed so many people who have disabilities to come to the restaurant and to have an experience with dignity. Now, that adding with dignity is extremely fundamental for me. To reflect on when I was in law school in Lagos, there was a lady who is a colleague of mine she had a disability that made her use a wheelchair. And now, whenever she wanted to come into the lecture hall, there was no wheelchair ramp. There was only a staircase. So anytime she wanted to come into the lecture hall, she had to be carried by our fellow colleagues.
Every class.
Every class. So when you come in the morning, you're carried in. When we're leaving for lunch break, she would be carried out, Coming back from lunch break, she would be carried in, and leaving, she would be carried out. I will tell you that this lady rarely went to the bathroom. And we would go to lectures from 9 till 6 daily, Monday through Friday. And I guarantee you that the reason well, obviously I don't know for sure, but what I believe the reason she didn't go to the bathroom was because of this inhumane method of having to leave the classroom. So, one of the most brilliant minds on planet Earth is, please say it with me, the gentleman...
Elon Musk?
No, this genius that's in a wheelchair.
Hawking? Stephen Hawking?
Stephen Hawking, thank you. Now, Stephen Hawking is paralyzed, but because he can live his life with dignity, he has a wheelchair that can take him anywhere. Most buildings, most businesses are built now within regulation to have provisions for people who live with handicaps, or excuse me, let me say people who live with disabilities. I know using handicaps is not politically correct.
Correct.
So, who live with disabilities, allowing them that type of lifestyle allows them to be great. When we don't provide those types of amenities in our culture, in our society, what we're saying to those people is that you're not good enough to do anything. The only thing you're good enough to do is to sit at home. So having businesses being built within regulations of accommodating people with disabilities, not only is it good for the business, but it's also good for society.
Yeah.
Because imagine we had a Stephen Hawking in Nigeria. And I'm sure we have so many Stephen Hawkings in Nigeria because we have so much untapped talent in our culture and our society. So if you can give an individual that type of respect, like we talked about this conversation, that a customer comes, you've dealt with them with respect, you've told them that not only are they, that the customer is always right, that we can even go further and saying the customer is God. Showing that kind of confidence, that kind of service, it creates let me say, a connection with society, with saying that you've come to a business where you don't have walls, where you don't have 10-foot wall with barbed wire. You're saying, listen, we are a society. We are living with each other. You live with a disability. We see you. We take you into account. Where whoever your religion, we've talked about this in this podcast, no matter what it is, we take you for who you are. We don't care about your religion. We don't care about your tribe. We don't care about your ethnicity. We don't care if you have a disability, if you don't have a disability. What we care is what can you bring back to society? And giving this kind of confidence of saying, okay, you can use a wheelchair. There's the simple example of saying you can use a wheelchair. You can come into a restaurant. We'll treat you with respect. I believe that will have a butterfly effect in that individual's life that says, okay, I am an individual. I have a lot to contribute to society. I am heard. I am seen. I am acknowledged. That is what gives society the ability to bring out individuals like Stephen Hawking. That says, okay, we will nurture you. Go and give us what we need in this society to grow. So that's one thing I would definitely encourage a lot of businesses. Take into account people. Not everyone is fit. Not everyone is healthy. Build something that accommodates for everybody. Show people that we are inclusive.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you. Thank you so
my
much.
honor.
We can go on and on, but we're going to have to bring this to a close right here. Wow, this has basically been like a masterclass. Every session we've gone through, if you put them all together, you'll probably be a few lectures away from getting your own online MBA. I mean, please don't take me. I mean, I don't give certificates here, so but you get what I'm trying to say. And this has been extremely helpful, extremely insightful. Any final words before we call it a day?
First of all, I would like to commend you on your show.
Thank you.
Please keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Please continue bringing people who will inspire our youth. There is so much, like I said, hidden talent in Plateau and in Nigeria as a whole. For those that are considering doing business, please go out and do it. Just start. You will never have every T crossed, every I dotted. There's always going to be something missing. There's always going to be a naysayer that says, you can't do it. Like, for me, when I was when I told people I'm going to do pizza, they said, in Plateau, we don't eat pizza. Who in Plateau even knows what a pizza is? That, you can't do this, you can't do that.
Can you imagine?
I don't serve alcohol in my business because I want it to be a bit more family-oriented. They say, how can you do a business in Plateau without alcohol? So just start. Yeah. Don't try to fill in everyone's desire. If I did that, I would be selling shawarma, I'll be selling burgers, I'll be selling pepper soup, I'll be selling tuwo. Because everyone is going to tell you, do it, giving you an unsolicited advice. But at the end of the day, be true to yourself, be true to your dream, your concept. Don't wivel too much. Stand the storm. Yeah. Be persistent. Don't waste. Don't waste. Don't flex. Don't buy cars. Rent boys quarters. Everything that we've talked about in this podcast. Yeah. Whatever you do, honor your community. Yeah. Honor your environment. And because at the end of the day, it will all bring back. It will all give thanks for what you're doing. Yeah. In some one way or another. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
That brings us for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm really grateful. That brings us to the very end of this session. As you go in this week, take all of these things that you've heard here, drop a to-do list, right? And give yourself an assignment. What new thing am I going to do this week? What am I going to do differently from what I've done in the previous weeks, in the previous years? What am I going to do differently this week that will bring me closer to the vision, to the dream, and to the life that I've always wanted? Right. There's so much that he has said today from in this session that you can begin to apply immediately. So I leave you with these words, and I can't wait to see you at the very next episode. You take care.